What's up, Agents for Life? Welcome to podcast number 245. I'm super glad that you're here listening. We're going to do some sales training. We're going to get down and dirty, get our hands dirty on some nitty gritty sales training during the appointment. Okay. So bear with me. It's going to be some good stuff. And I hope that some tips here can help you improve your sales. So, first, a couple of announcements. Number one, Ohio. If you can make it, August 23rd, 24th. If you haven't heard us talk about it, get on Telegram. You'll see the announcements. We're having a training. It's at Eric's office. Food is covered. You just got to get yourself there. There's no cost otherwise. Just travel and getting yourself there. But if you can, I'm going to be there. A lot of the managers are all coming, and we're getting together face to face to strategize, to make calls, to run appointments. So we're going to do all that we can to make it a power packed 2 day. It's an overnighter event for whoever shows up. So please put it on your calendar. Do everything you can to attend. Second thing is just a tease. We've got something coming up, some improved training on the Agent Builder website that we're working on that's going to help all of us to be able to grow our agencies and recruit and train our agents even better than what we have on there. So that's some good stuff we're looking forward to. I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but it's coming. And a lesson from the field this week. My first application that I wrote this week was from a guy that was a client of mine who had some coverage. It lapsed, and he was going to get some more. Just didn't really pull the trigger. And then his brother died, and he called me kind of frantic, and he's like, "I need coverage," and I felt bad for him. I mean, he was close to his brother, but I don't know if you've come across that. But what more kind of a wake up call can you get than losing a close family member and then realizing I don't have any coverage myself? I need to get some coverage. And so he was like, whatever. And I quoted him a price. It was the easiest, quickest sale. It's in underwriting right now and expecting it to approve. But my goodness, he was chomping at the bit. And that got me to thinking, there's really no reason to wait. And this is the deep thought for the week, if if you look at life, and the two main factors of life insurance are age, right, and your health. Now, granted, smoking status that plays a lot into it, but think about those two, the age and health. As you go through life, well, number one, you're guaranteed not to get younger. You're guaranteed only to get older. Okay. So that one is a done deal. But most of us, on the big scope of things, if you're looking at life, your health slowly declines as you age. So those two factors involved, what are you waiting for? And I'm talking to you like you're a client that's resistant. I get it. I'm talking preaching to the choir, right? But if we can get that mindset and somehow communicate that urgency to clients, you can always get something and put something else better. If your health improves, get something better and replace it. But you can never go back in time and get something you turned down that you could have qualified for while you had the chance. And I love to phrase it that way to clients, and it really helps build that urgency because if you need coverage, there is no reason to wait. Get what you can and replace and improve it later. And I think it's our job to help paint that picture for people because there's far too many people that want to wait, and they don't really. It doesn't. It's not a good idea. It doesn't work out well because things happen and then they don't qualify, right? So, anyways, just got me kind of thinking down that trail. With this client of mine that had this brother. It's this just all of a sudden, an urgency. Like, don't wait. Let's get something in place today, right? I wish all of the clients had that kind of urgency, but that was a fun appointment. Let's get into the training. So, three key questions that you want to ask on your appointment. Okay, three key questions. Okay, I'm going to break these down. The first one is what has you looking into life insurance. Now, if it's Ethos Lead, you say life insurance. If it's mortgage protection, you'll say that. But I like to know, what is it that has you looking into fill in the blank. Final expense, maybe IUL, annuity, whatever it is. I want to know why they're looking. Let them answer. Pause. Okay. If there's a pause, pauses are good. Don't be afraid of pauses. So what has you looking at life insurance? Some follow-up questions to that, or sub questions. What caught your eye about the flyer, the ad, the mailer? the billboard, the social media post, wherever they saw something, what caught your eye about that? Okay. Second follow up to that is, who is this for? So I'd like to know who they have in mind. Who are you trying to protect? Okay. And then the follow up to that, follow up number 3, this is still question number 1, is why is this important to you or to them? If it's all about having the spouse protected, why is it important for them to have that protection? Now, it sounds like a dumb question, right? Why is it? Well, duh, it's important because, if he dies and I'm, I don't have any money or income and blah, 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 right? Well, sometimes dumb questions can be the most powerful, obvious questions, because you want the client or the prospect to answer your question out loud because they hear themselves saying the answer. As they're doing that, they're emotionally connecting with their why or their answer that they don't usually articulate in their mind. We have a lot of thoughts around in our mind, right? And our subconscious mind is processing a lot of those, the bulk of them. And a lot of times we're not even aware. So you might be talking to somebody that in the back of their mind, which I guess is where our subconscious exists, we all call it the back of our mind, where we're not even aware. They feel like there's a need, like, yeah, I know I need to get to it, right? But until their brother dies, it stays in the back of the mind and it doesn't go to the front of the mind where there's that urgency all of a sudden, right? So we need to draw that out. And we do that with questions and emotion, asking tough questions, pointed questions, and sometimes the way that what we might call dumb questions or obvious questions, right? Because why is that important to you might sound like a dumb question, but we need to articulate that because we got to pull that thought from the cobwebs of the back of the mind up into the spotlight where it now becomes a part of their realization. Okay. That's question number 1. Number 2, I want to know about their current circumstance. So we're painting the picture. What would happen if you passed away today? Or if you didn't make it home from work today, what does that look like for your family? Besides the obvious, they're sad, they're planning, funeral. Financially, what does that look like? So that's the question, number 2. And specifically, what would it look like for, and then the beneficiary? Use names. Okay. Don't just say your wife. Find out what her name is and use that. What would it look like for Lynn or whoever, whatever the name is? Okay. And then and then the answer, is that how you would want things to go? Very simple question. Sounds like kind of a dumb question, perhaps, because if it's devastating, the obvious answer is going to be, well, no, that's not how I want things to go. But again, we're drawing those answers out. We have to bring that to the surface for them to feel, because they're going to feel it, whether it's now or when it really happens. We don't want them to feel it when it really happens and they're not prepared, right? So third follow-up to that second question is, how would that make you feel? So what would you want, or what would it look like for her or him? Is that how you would want things to go? And how would that make you feel? And then from there, obvious discussion, depending on what they say. Third question, if we could fix this with a policy that fits your budget, I'm assuming you'd at least want to apply to see if you could qualify, right? Okay. So this is a little bit of a leading question, right? In a court of law, that would be leading the witness, because you're saying, I'm assuming, right? Hint, hint. But it's okay in sales, in some instances like that, to phrase questions in a way that brings them down the road, because they don't want to go there. They're going to resist feeling and thinking about it, because it's not a pleasant experience to think about losing your spouse or your children or something, right? So our job is to go there with them, and we do have to lead them there, because that is a very real moment that they're going to experience if they're not protected. So let me go over those one more time. The first question, what has you looking into life insurance? So that's a little bit more casual, right? We're just curious to see, give me a little background here. Number 2, what would happen if you pass away today? So this is the question where we're finding out what today looks like. What do your circumstances look like? And then, of course, the follow-ups to that. And then number 3, if we could fix this with a policy that fit your budget, I'm assuming you'd at least want to apply to see if we can get you qualified, right? Hopefully that helps you. There's a million ways to do a life insurance appointment. And this is one. These are some great questions you can take, or you can modify to make them your own. But guys, don't be afraid of asking the tough questions and leading people down that emotional road so that they can know what they need to avoid and why they feel it's important to get a policy in place to get that protection, that peace of mind. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, peace of mind is what we're selling. Thanks for listening, and I hope that helps some of you. Go out there and put some of these practices into place and protect more families. Talk to you next week.